Happy Friday, St. Francis in the field. I am here with a special Friday finale. You probably don't see me dressed like this, but I think what we're going to discuss today lends itself to being dressed this way. And that is, I want to tell you a story. When I was younger, my dad did some work in England, and we got to go along. He designed mapping systems back when we used to use actually paper maps. It's hard to imagine that today when your map's in your hand and it's part of your phone. And we would go to England, we'd go to London, and in London they have the Underground, that's their subway system, and they would have these beautiful British messages that would come across every time a train was coming to the station. It'd say, "Mind the gap." And I'm sure many of you who've been there remember this because it's pretty obnoxious. Mind the gap. Well, when I came to St. Francis in February, as is often the case, your vestry had worked really hard during Father Michael's transition into my transition, trying to push ministry, push the resources, the time, talent, and particularly the treasure, the money forward. So they put forward a budget after doing a really good job during COVID, which a lot of churches struggled during COVID, and St. Francis didn't, with their PPP loans and different sources of revenue to help offset what all of us were feeling. So they entered into this year with close to $60,000 in the bank. You and I would think about it in our house in a savings account. And as they made the budget for this year, for 2022, they decided instead of cutting ministry back, which is often the case in transition, giving kind of usually goes down when we're in transition. It's every church. St. Luke's, when I was in Austin and showed up there, same thing, almost the exact same amount of money that they were sitting on. It was a little over $60,000 at St. Luke's. Same process. When church is in transition, usually you see resources drop because people are waiting to see what's going to happen. Are we just going to stop, or is the ministry going to continue? Your vestry said, you know what, we're going to continue. And they put forward a budget that had some growth in it. And they said, you know what, we have this $60,000 in our savings account. We're going to use it because our pledges came up about $60,000 short. And they said, you know what, we're going to use it. We're going to move forward with a budget of progress. And here we are in August of 2022, and we're trending, as we did projections, our finance committee met, and we see that we're going to spend that $60,000. And I said, being the obnoxious new rector, why? Why spend the $60,000 even though they plan to, when I think we can close that gap? That gap amounts to 120 households, which we have way more than that at St. Francis, who give $500 between now and the end of the year. And that might be in addition to your pledging, or if you're not someone who gives anything to St. Francis, but you believe in what we're doing and you're like, I can do $500, that is going to close that gap. And that way we can hold that $60,000 for new initiatives, for upkeep of this beautiful plant. I don't know how many of you know, but we have 46 acres here that we have to keep up. We have huge air conditioner units, just like you have on your house, but 4 times bigger. And the bill, when one of those goes out, is 4 times bigger than what you and I pay for our house. And all of this is important. That's what I want us to remember, that the money is about the ministry. It's what keeps us going. Having this beautiful place is part of what people are drawn to at St. Francis. It gives us an opportunity to serve the world. And we're looking for, and I'm looking for, creative ways to do that. So this Sunday, and only for the next 2 Sundays, you're going to see this card. It says, "Close the gap." And I want you to think about that underground. Mind the gap. Let's mind this gap. Let's close this gap. And think about $100 August, September, October, November, December. If you could do that in addition to your current regular giving, or like I said, if you're somebody who doesn't give, if you'll continue to do that, you can fill one of these cards out and let us know so we can plan on it, so we can be ready for it. But I would love to end 2022 as we get ready for an exciting 23 with that money still in the bank, that $60,000 still in the bank. And the last thing I want to say, because some of you might be thinking, well, what about that foundation we just heard about? Your foundation exists, and those funds are about the future. That's not just an extra savings account we get to tap into. That money is there for future initiatives. We only get to use a portion of the interest that produces, just like at a college. So we don't just get to tap into it, and we would never want to have the habit of tapping into that because we come up short or we want to do something funny that has no mission or bearing on it. So this is about us. We have to do this as a community of faith and let the foundation keep running and secure our future. So there's a lot to be excited about at St. Francis, lots of growth. So many of you are new, and I would love to encourage you. $100, August, September, October, November, December, in addition to your regular giving, or just make a new gift. I thank you so much for your stewardship, for your time, your talent, your treasure. You can read the letter below this video for a little bit more detail about what's going on. And let me just say this, if we don't get there, we're not in any trouble because we plan to use that savings account. I'm just saying, as the obnoxious new guy, why do that? Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you on Sunday.